All right. Well, while people are still talking or still kind of going through here, I'm going to share really quickly what's going on as it relates to coronavirus, what we're seeing, and some of the market information that we have compiled, kind of thing. Now, this one, I've not sent this one to anybody, so if you need it, let me know, kind of thing. But I did want to kind of, this doesn't have anything to do with a CE class, and so, but this is just some information that we've come across, and I think it's important that we have this. So if you're still with me and you'd like this information, I'm just going to blow through it really quickly, kind of thing. So first thing is we are in a coronavirus recession, but if you look at right now, payment based as a percentage of income is the lowest it's been. Our historic norms is 21.2. Right now, payments is based on a percentage of income is 14.8. During the 08 crash, it was 24%. And so things are very, very different now. Also, total home equity that was cashed out in the prior 3 years before now, $232 billion was taken out of homes. However, before 08, there was $824 billion that was taken out. So Americans have a lot more equity in their homes right now than they had in 08. Also, U.S. savings are double where they were in 08, kind of thing. You can see that now we have nearly twice the savings that we had back then. Also, annual home price appreciations prior to, so you can see the years leading up to the 07, 08 time, and what kind of high home price appreciations we had versus the last 6 years have been much more moderate, kind of thing. So we don't have that same kind of bubble forming. Prior to, in 07, we had 8.2 months of inventory. And at one point, it went right up to 9 months of standing inventory. Today, we're sitting at 3.1 months of standing inventory. Homeowners right now, a ton more conservative than they were in 08. And this one I found very, very interesting. 37% of American households have no mortgage. Of the remaining 63%, a quarter of them have over 50% equity in their homes. And so when you compare that to where we were in 08, this is a very different market than where we were. Back in 06, you needed 25% of your income to purchase a price. Right now, it's about 15%. So it's drastically lower. If you also look at the housing and the mortgage crash, the one in 08, we were part of the cause. And you can see what that did. We saw the S&P drop by over 50%, as well as you can see, what happened to the annual home price depreciation. These are on national levels, kind of thing. But when you look at what happened in .com and the 9/11 crash as it pertains to real estate, completely different story. Even though the S&P crashed, in 2000, 2001, 2002, we saw 8.6, 6.6, 8.5% growth in real estate during that same time frame. So we all think that because we lived through 08, that a recession means housing is crashing. That is not what we see, and the numbers support that. A recession does not equal a housing crisis. This whole thing is tied to Corona. What we're going through, coronavirus is it caused this to happen to us, but that's not what, and so this is not systemic of the entire, of housing overall. This is one of those things that when the recession, or when our little recession is over, we become the driving force in a recovery, kind of thing. And so if you look at the previous recessions, kind of thing, one in 81, 6.1% drop, or increase 3.5% in 81. In 2001, house prices increased 6.6%. Only twice out of the last 8 recessions did housing get affected. And that was in the 91, and it was only down 1.9%. But the economic times are very, very different. We are much closer economically to being how we were in 2000, as far as how is housing gonna wear through right now. This is a recent poll. They went out and said, what is the safest investment? They chose real estate as the safest investment over the next 10 years. And that's, you can see we even beat gold as the safest investment kind of thing. All the major financial institutions right now, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, all three are showing this big hockey stick. So are we going to feel it? And you can see right here, yes, everybody's predicting that quarter two is going to stink. And I think you just kind of got to accept the reality. The next quarter is going to stink for everybody. But if you'll look, the corresponding recovery is actually greater than the dip. It's really what we're looking at for most everybody kind of thing. And housing is even more so. This is just based on these financial institutions, what they're looking at. Housing is actually poised to be even in much better shape than them. PricewaterhouseCoopers, they surveyed 50 leaders from a cross section of industries and said, if COVID-19 was done, how long would it take you? 66% said less than a month they're back. The rest of them said in 1 to 3 months they're back. And 90% are back and operating at full steam. So again, this is not something, this is something so tied to Corona and what we're going through. Matter of fact, if you look in China right now, China is going back through and they have 30 sales where they are up 30 and 40% in their housing market because of so much pent up demand during their downtime. So there is a lot of stuff that that we need to be conscious of. One of the biggest things that we need to be thinking about right now is building these relationships with folks, because there is going to be a corresponding jump in business on the other end here. And so now's our time to build these relationships. All these things that I talked about in the sales meeting, in the CE class today, there's so much of this that we can be doing right now that doesn't entail us meeting face to face, but we can still go out and build a lot of relationships. So thank you all very, very much.